It's
Yeah.
dude. I think it was because the hiking boots I was wearing. Like I went to like I think it was like Ross or Marshalls, and I bought these like cheap ass hiking boots. I was like, oh, these would be good for like early season. And don't nope. No, they're absolute shit. Like if you're walking complete flat farmland, you're fine. But when you're walking like even the littlest of rocks,
Little
dude,
terrain or something. Yeah.
it's like even no ankle support, no foot, no sole support, no nothing. Like doesn't matter how tight you make them, it doesn't matter.
There's
It's
nothing.
terrible. I'm like, you know what? I'll just wear my lacrosses out there now.
Mm.
It doesn't matter because I
Yep.
these cameras I had soaking since June, and unbelievable how I knew there would probably be big deer up in this area,
Mhm.
but I didn't think there'd be that big a deer up in this area. Like
Oh,
it's
really?
yeah, like he like and I got daylight pictures of him, daylight pictures and videos of him. I never saw a deer with such a black face before. Like he literally has like a black like his from his head back like half his neck is pretty much black. And I was like,
Wow.
that's an old deer.
That's a really old deer.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, I don't know. I feel with where I'm set up, I feel confident. Like I went and hung the Cold World up there. Like
Mhm.
last weekend, I went there and hung it up. I was like, I could go in there the day of and obviously hang it up. Like it's not a big deal. But being it's the first time I'm going to be ever hunting in this area, I was like, I don't want to go in there and be stumbling around trying to find a tree. Like,
Yep.
and then plus, I'm also glad I went in there because I went in there and I found that there was actually another guy in there with a tree stand. Him and his son go in there.
Oh,
Where their tree stand is was originally where I was going to set up, like complete obvious, and it was been a great spot, like from the naked eye from looking at e scouting.
mm-hmm.
But then like when I got down to where my cameras are, I was like, it makes so much more sense to be down further towards these like the one side of the mountain is like all rocks, like it's just
Yeah.
rocky. And I was like, it makes so much more sense to be closer to this stuff because if they're pushed, they're going to go towards the harder to access areas.
Yeah.
So that's, I'm glad I went and set that up because I think where I'm at, and of course I had the Mondo too. So like that,
Yep.
it's so nice, dude. Like the Mondo and like the stands that they have, and dude, I've rocked that all year. I don't think I've sat in a tree stand other than those two twice, and
Really.
it was the Vanish. So I mean it was just early on I had like this primary scraper outside of bedding, and I just sat in the Vanish,
Mhm.
and that was it. And I used primarily as like saddle platforms. Like
Oh, yeah.
it's just so much more. It's nicer. Like I like the platforms because I last year I used Trophy Line quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
I, I like platforms, but yet to have the ability to just sit down in an actual stand, it's so
Dude,
nice. So nice.
that's so nice. Yeah, that's um like the morning I shot him, I was sitting in the retrograde,
Hmm.
but I was backwards, like saddle hunting, but like I was kind of like, I guess you should say I was saddle hunting. Like I was just sitting comfortably,
Yeah.
but like my ropes were real loose.
Yeah.
So like if I wanted to, I could just flip around real quick and sit for a little bit. And but I ended up having a flock of turkeys like making their way in, and I was like in the stand trying to remember my um, card number
Uh huh.
because I was buying a turkey tag in the stand. Like all these turkeys are working towards me. I'm buying a turkey tag, and then they never did. But yeah, like so, like having that option to just be able to, like I ran the retrograde.
Hmm.
I know a lot of people are like skeptical about it,
Right.
and personally, I think it's just because people don't know where their feet are,
Right. Yes.
and that is like something like, and like even in a big stand, like you're not just like whipping around,
Yeah.
like just like
Yeah.
what? No, like you're taking little steps at a time,
Hmm.
and so that was like the retrograde for me was like. Don't get me wrong, I hunted out of the cold world too. I actually shot a doe opening morning
Hmm.
out of the cold world, loved it. Um, Shot him out of the retrograde, and then when my dad came up, the first full week in November, I
Mhm.
was back and forth between the Mondo and the Invader platform and the Retrograde.
Mhm.
And like just from like sitting in the saddle, not daylight to dark, but like, you know, longer sits in the morning, longer sits in the evening. I'm like towards the end of it, I'm like, I need to sit in a tree stand.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm packing the Retrograde and I'm hanging
Yes.
it. Like it takes just as long to hang it as it does the Invader
Yeah, it
platform.
does.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna throw it up and just call it a day.
Yeah. Yeah, I
So
100%
much
agree
more
with that, man.
comfortable.
100%, because the one thing XOP has to make yet, which they may not, they might, I mean, other companies make it, a backband. A backband with the Mondo would be nice.
That would be, I think that game changer.
Mm-hmm.
But I seen a story from Tom. He was testing out the 2024 saddle, and he said
Oh,
it's super comfortable.
yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see.
There's
A backband still would be great.
Yeah, with any
But
saddle, a backband is nice because I had the saddle. I used the saddle last year with a backband, and man, let me tell you, for those all day sits, that's nice. It's real nice. And I use the one thing I wish last year that I had was like the Retrograde, like
Yep.
because when I'm up in last year I was up in I did my ruckcation up in Clinton County, Pennsylvania, and
Mm-hmm.
those are big mountains, kind of like Ohio, big mountains up there. Like I wouldn't even say rolling hills, like they're actual mountains. Like the highest elevation was 2,300 feet of elevation. Yeah. So they were, bees to climb,
Yeah.
and with that lightweight stand, it would have been nice because like the saddle was great for being lightweight going up those far distances,
Mhm.
but like to have a stand that you can actually like you said, like have the opportunity to sit down and actually like take a pressure off your hips if you want to, or
Yeah.
it's nice. And I mean, I do see where people are going with the whole not knowing where your feet are, because I used it. My plan was for rifle to just run and gun kind of mentality of
Mm-hmm.
have it on my back and just go set up where I see fresh sign, where I know people are driving them to, trying to set up after they're driving so I can set up right there. And that was my plan. And that is like, man, I used the Retrograde a few times this year, and I was like, that's the quick movement for rifle. I feel like it wouldn't be good for rifle because you're doing those quick movements.
Yeah, you are kind of back and forth,
but with the saddle, like you said, if you're facing the tree, you don't really have to worry about the quick movements because you're just right there. You can just set up and shoot.
Yep.
And,
And the one thing with the Retrograde is when you have the seat flipped up and you flip the pad over, it's, I mean, at least for me, I'm 5'11". So when I like lean down, like my knees go right into the pad on the back side of the seat. So it's like perfect height. I don't have to carry knee pads. Literally all I've got to do is just carry the stand, and all I did was carry camera equipment anyways.
Yeah.
For the majority of the time I was in it, but yeah, it was definitely a game changer for me, I think, this year.
One thing I think you got to try. So I did that. I did the whole knee thing. Put your knee up there. You put your knee up a little higher. So you put your one leg on the actual Versa button. Like you put your toe on that Versa button, and then you put your other knee into that. It's so much more comfortable. Like it's really comfortable.
I'll check that out.
Yeah. So your one knee. So say you're putting your left leg up. Your left foot would be on, like your toe would be on that Versa button, kind of like not really pressing hard, but like still there. And then your your right knee would be into the actual seat cushion as it slipped over. And you can do that. You can switch legs back and forth, and it's like, that, like your knees hurt a little bit after even just putting your legs there for a while. So in this way, you kind of like, you take the pressure off everything.
Yeah, little extra movements.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. I'm gonna definitely have to try that.
Yeah, it's
definitely gonna try that.
That's a game changer. You can write that down.
Yeah, I'm gonna take that one to the bank.
Yeah. Zach, do you want to introduce yourself? Well, first, welcome to the podcast. I'm Cody. For you and for all the listeners who may not know, who people are just listening in, they want to hear this 184-inch buck. What was it, 184 and what?
7/8.
7/8. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Man, did you ever think you'd shoot a buck that big?
No.
No?
When I first got pictures of him, me and my buddy were like, we think he's low 170s.
Okay.
We're like, well, mid to low 170s, maybe 180.
Yeah.
Never did I think that was going to be 184 inches with double drops and matching kickers.
And
then I had the score sheet, but I think this brow time was like 9 5/8, and this one was 8 3/8 or something like that. So I mean,
man,
yeah,
like
he's
dang near symmetrical, and that's the thing that I love the most about it. Like when you posted him, I was like, I had to like double take because he was like, he looked like he was just like photoshopped. Not gonna lie, like almost like the Rampala buck, like it was like perfectly symmetrical.
Yeah, there is like a 1/4 inch difference between the length on the kickers, and one of the drops was like, one was 6 on the dot, and the other one was like 5 and like a half or 5 and 4/8. So I mean, they're like, I mean, he is almost perfectly symmetrical.
Oh my gosh! Like when you think of like symmetrical buck, like I mean, I just went down to North Carolina. We're recording this. What's today's date? This is November 20th. We're recording this, so a couple weeks after this will be released. But like, you don't really think of those kind of buck as being symmetrical because there's so much that they have to. So much that goes into them. Like the drop time's almost in the same spot as the other side. But when you think of symmetrical buck, you think of like a perfect 10, a perfect 8, that kind of stuff. You don't think of that kind of buck as being symmetrical.
Yeah. No, you don't. And that was like, I mean, the trail camera pictures, man, like it's just like how did you grow like that?
Yeah.
And we can get into it later too, but the jump he made from last year to this year is like, I would say last year he was maybe 130.
Okay.
And I'm saying maybe. He had the long brow tines. He did not have any other character. And he was actually an 8-pointer last year.
What?
God, dude, I kid you not.
Oh my God.
So, my name's Zack Johns.
Go ahead, introduce yourself first. How you got into hunting, all that kind of good stuff.
My name's Zack Johns. I live in Central Ohio. I got into hunting, man, just like most people, stepping in my dad's boot tracks as a kid. I mean, he took me when I was young. I got my start in turkey hunting, chasing him around the woods of, like maybe you're familiar with the Steubenville area.
I've heard of it, yeah.
Of Ohio, so like right on the river.
Okay.
Chasing turkeys out there, eastern Ohio, and that's kind of where I got my start. And then it just kind of, we chased turkeys in the spring because it was kind of the easiest thing for me to do when I was younger, and then developed into deer hunting. And then, I mean, I've been deer hunting past my hunter safety course when I was 10 years old. I've been in the woods a few years prior to that, but I mean, yeah, I'm 30. I'll be 31 on December 7th. So
okay.
I've been hunting my entire life.
Hey, happy early birthday, man! Happy early birthday.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
So,
I don't really count them anymore.
They're just numbers
it's all milestone birthdays from here on out.
Exactly. So, like, most people, like, you got into with turkey, which makes sense. I know when my first hunt was like squirrel hunting, that small game kind of mentality. I know a lot of people here in PA, like rifle for big game, rifle hunting was a thing. Was that
Yep.
how you got introduced to rifle out there?
No,
Okay.
actually. Um, I had an old. Dad got it from a guy at work. An old um Horton. I think it was the Summit crossbow.
Okay.
I mean, this thing was it was heavy,
Yeah.
heavy.
Yeah.
But like when I went hunting for the first time, it was with a comp or not a compound, a crossbow.
Mm-hmm.
So I was bow hunting from a tree stand, scared to death at 10, 11 years
Yeah.
old. I mean, and then obviously, we gun season and stuff like that, it's
Yep.
big everywhere. But yeah, as far as actually cutting my teeth, I was bow hunting from the start and then transitioned into gun hunting that year, and then it just kind of evolved from there.
Man, do you remember if that crossbow was it one of those recurve ones, or was it had the cams
No,
on it?
it was cam ones. Yeah,
Okay. All right.
I think it was maybe it's not the Summit. It was an older crossbow.
Yeah.
I know that. It
Okay.
was older when I got a hold of it.
Yeah.
Hunter, maybe, I can't remember, but yeah, it was.
Okay.
It was one of those.
My dad he had one, I forget which kind he had, but like the scope cracked and it's like all wiggly. He missed a few deer when it happened.
Yep.
So he was like, I need to get a new one. So he didn't buy a new one, but he bought a used one off someone new to him, kind of. But it's one of those recurve ones, and those things are gnarly, dude. Like the recurve crossbow ones, like it looks like obviously like a recurve bow, but it to me it does not look safe at all. Like the recurve crossbows.
Is it an Excalibur?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, dude, that thing. He's like shooting a 12 gauge.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they kick.
Yeah. Yeah. He hasn't shot it yet. He barely even went out for archery this year. So like his first time out was down in North Carolina, and he came. Well, no, his first time out was him and I went and pulled trail cameras, on public before we went down, and my dad was like, "Well, now I need to get out in the woods because this is my first time out in the woods. Now I need to get out." I was like, "Well, I'm glad I could help you."
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was pretty cool. But yeah, I mean, I when I first got into archery, it was a crossbow as well. So but it was a newer one. I bought it brand new for $199. It was my intro into archery, and now I'm full blown compound and all that kind of good stuff, But we have no ill will against crossbows because I think it's people. This is where people will turn the channel, because they're like, oh, crossbow talk again, But it's a legal way to hunt. If it's legal, you should be able to do it and not be bashed about it, obviously. But okay, so when did the transition from the crossbow era, all that kind of stuff, to like a compound happen for you?
So it was not too long after that. I started obviously with the crossbow, and then my dad was huge on eBay back in the day. I mean, bought all kinds of shit on eBay.
Yeah.
But I come home from school one day or something like that, and he like had this box, and he's like, "Here you go, this is your bow." And I was like, "I didn't know you're buying me a bow." It was an Omega Explorer.
Oh wow.
Dude, I love that bow. And I shot that thing like crazy, as much as I could with him without like just shooting in the backyard. I mean, I put probably 100 arrows in the side of the garage, not even in the target, just in the side of the garage. But that was kind of my jump into the compound. I mean, everybody had a Brave bow.
Yep.
Stuff like that. But that was like my first bow. And like I fell in love. And then from there, it kind of just, because in Ohio, you have to pull 40 pounds to compound hunt.
Okay. I think here in PA, it's 35.
I think you're right.
I think, yeah.
Yeah. So in Ohio, you had to pull 40 pounds. And I still wasn't there. I was still shooting the Omega. And finally getting to that point where I was shooting it so much that I kind of like built up that muscle fairly quickly.
Yeah.
But I was still doing this was my way of if I drew it straight back, I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
But if I, for some reason, put my chin into my arm, I could like work it back and get it in. I mean, that
The
wasn't.
neck muscle.
Thank God I didn't shoot anything like that.
Yeah.
But so that was kind of like that was that next step, and then that like from then on, like I'm an archery nerd.
Mm-hmm.
But I buy and sell bows like crazy. I mean, you name it. I've got my own press. I literally do everything.
Yeah.
The only thing I can't do is if it's warranty work.
Yeah.
I gotta take it somewhere. But other than that, man, like all my cousins, my buddies, like anything that's not warranty or like, hey, I need a tune up or hey, I need a string change. Like they bring it to me,
Mm-hmm.
and that's like that is my that like other than hunting. That aside from my family, that is legit all I do.
Yep.
Is archery stuff and hunting.
Yeah.
I think about it constantly. I play golf. I suck, but I mean, I do it. But like,
Yeah.
so that like Omega totally like brought in just a crazy passion for archery.
Yeah.
Just from a little bow that I could barely shoot.
That's awesome. That's awesome. That's like that's one of the things, like we get into hunting and we have this passion for it, and we just
Yeah.
we like you almost like it kind of gets overwhelming, right? Like there's so
Oh yeah.
much you put into it. Like hunting, like sometimes I probably annoy my wife with it because it's like you talk about it all the time. It's like one of those things. It's like you have a drive to be. You don't want to necessarily try and be better than the next guy. You just try and better yourself.
Yep.
Like
No, I
that's
totally get it.
and by
My
you
wife's in
working
the
on it.
next room and she could agree exactly what you just said.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, she gets about this time of year. She's like, okay,
Yeah.
you don't have to keep talking about it. We get it.
Yes. Yeah. My wife, like I love her to death, and it's like I understand that I talk way too much about it. I talk way too much, especially now that I have the podcast, and it's like now it's like I talk about it all the time because I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
I can do this with a podcast now. Like I always have ideas rolling around in my head, like this is what I
Mhm.
could do next, videoing stuff, and it's like it's addicting, man. Like it's
Oh yeah.
and like I'm the same way with archery. Like I'm enthralled with it, especially since I got a compound. But then, like now, archery's over. Early season archery's over for PA here, and rifles coming. It's like now you have this your tradition you started with is
Yep.
now there again. It's like I have this fire lit underneath me. And it's like, oh my gosh! Like I'm this. Like originally I wasn't looking forward to it at all, and now all of a sudden it's this week, and I'm like I'm pumped. I'm fired up. Like I'm ready to put some a 130 grain Federal through a Boilermaker of a big buck.
Something.
Yeah.
And like you said, like that tradition. Like
Mhm.
I remember growing up, gun season was always like that. Like that hunting camp feel.
Yes.
Like it just, you got up in the morning and like it's funny. I always equate like the smell of like a 4-stroke 4-wheeler burning in the morning. It's freezing cold. You just smell that like the fumes off of that 4-wheeler, and like everybody's putting their guns on the 4-wheelers, and like everybody's in their orange, and like that is to me like hunting.
Yeah.
Like don't get me wrong, I love archery, but
Yeah.
like that is what brings me back to being a kid, and then going out there and sitting on the ground next to a tree.
Yep.
Or sitting on a stump or something like that. Like we ain't hunting out of tree stands most of the time. Like we're sitting on
Yeah.
the ground.
Yeah.
That to me, that is like you said, like that tradition. Like
Yeah.
that is what I think I miss the most
Mm-hmm.
from like that era of being a kid. And like I said, that like the 4-wheeler, and like I'd walked out. I had my truck started one morning and it was cold, and I like walked like through the exhaust, and I was like, uh-oh. Like we about to start deer hunting?
Yeah. 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 Dude, I'm right there with you, man. Like it's like archery hunting is a solo sport. It is
Yes.
purely solo. When you go for a rifle, muzzleloader, anything like that, that's the camaraderie thing right there. That's what
Yep.
that's 100% what hunting is all about. Like
Yep.
like it's great, and we're here to talk about your big buck that you got during our season that you did by yourself, but like also
Mhm.
you had videos of like who'd you call? You called your wife, you called your son, you talked to them, you
Yep.
talked to you showed them you were excited about that. And
Yep.
like that's like when I got the deer down in North Carolina, I called my wife right away. Like it was like, and then I text my dad. And my dad texted me before I even had a chance to text him because he was only like 200 yards away from me. So it was like,
Yeah.
you have that. That's what hunting is about. Like if you go out in the woods and you go out there, you shoot something, you harvest something, and you have no one to call, like
It's
it's there's no fun in it. There's no
no.
camaraderie in it. And it's like my buddy Tyler Wilbur, he's going to be up in Center County in PA for opening a rifle, and I'm going to be like an hour away from him. He's like, dude,
Yeah.
like if you get one down, hit me up. I'll come over and help you find it or whatever. Because
Yeah.
like that's what hunting is all. That's like what it's about, man. Like
Yeah.
it's the camaraderie, it's the celebration, celebrating each other, all that kind of stuff.
Yep. That's and that like my very first deer was shot on a deer drive
Mm-hmm.
with a muzzle loader, and like I got to experience that feeling with everybody who was with us.
Yeah.
And like that was cool. And like when I shot it, I didn't realize it. I had my scope turned all the way up on like as high as it could go. And when I shot, I didn't realize I kind of hit in the back, and then it hit the back leg.
Yeah.
And it dropped. And I could hear my uncle screaming, "Nobody touch that deer. Nobody shoot that deer. That's Zach's deer."
Yeah.
Like that, like, dude, I still remember, like, it echoes through my head. Like, that was so cool to just have that whole experience with
Mm-hmm.
everybody, and then get to be a part of my very first deer.
Yeah.
That was like that.
Yeah.
It's up there.
Like you got an 184-inch buck right now, but I'm sure it
Yeah.
doesn't even amount to that moment right there.
Oh yeah. First deer is always
Yeah.
up here, and then my first bow buck. Like I can still. That's a whole nother podcast. I can
Yeah.
tell you every detail of that. And then like this guy, like
Yeah.
this is, it's everything, that the culmination of everything, and all the experiences that end up with something like this.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's what just builds everything. Like
Yeah.
builds the whole experience and the emotions that come out. Like the night I shot him, like I kind of like broke down on my wife. Like I
Mm-hmm.
just started like, I didn't like bawl crying, but like I started tearing up, and I was thanking her, and like just kind of like it was so crazy, just like it hit me out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not a guy I ain't gonna cry on your shoulder, but man, it was just everything.
Yeah.
Just kind of like let loose at that moment.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I'm right there with you because like the 20. Let me think. What year was that? 2020. I want to say 2020. I was like, I put a lot of time in. Put a lot of freaking time in. Like.
Mm-hmm.
And it came down to the first air rifle, and I did e-scouting because I couldn't scout the property before going up, all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And like I sat there and then had two doe run underneath me, and then the big 9-point came out, and I shot him, and like I called my wife and I broke down. Like it was like one of the like
Yep.
if you put so much time in, our significant others go through a lot, put up with a
Yep.
lot for us to go out here and do what we love to do.
Mm-hmm.
And we deep down we want to be with them, we want to be with our kids, we want to be with our wives,
Oh,
all
yeah.
that kind of stuff, but yet we also have this deep burning desire to be out hunting. It's something unexplainable to anyone who does
Yes.
not hunt, and to go through the whole season, a rough season, and then it just automatically just happens in a blink of an eye.
Yep.
Emotions run over you, and if you're a guy and you can't admit to that, then I'm sorry, but there's something wrong with you if you can't admit to
Yeah.
breaking down in that moment.
And I think another thing like that kind of like just the way it hit me was I was expecting this to be a grind.
Mm-hmm.
Like you don't see deer like this every day.
No.
I was fully expecting to spend every day, daylight to dark, during my rutcation
Mm-hmm.
in the same spot that I shot him. Like I was fully expecting that. I was expecting to just be away for a while.
Right.
And prior to that, like I said, we'll get into it more, but like I didn't hunt a whole lot early season
Mhm.
because I knew when it came time, like daylight to dark, I was going to be after him,
Right.
and I wasn't going to be home a lot. So I was like, I better get some brownie points now, and
Yeah.
and spend time with the family because there's going to be a time where I'm not going to be here a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
100%,
yeah,
man. 100%. I mean, we all go through that, and I think it takes a true man to admit that. It
oh
does.
yeah,
It takes a true man to admit that they, like we miss our families. We do. Like it's
100%.
but we, like I said, we have this desire, we have this deep burning passion to be out there
Yep.
chasing after these magnificent creatures that we call whitetails. And it's just like, it comes from our traditional ancestors of like, you know, the Indians, the Pilgrims, all that kind of stuff. They're going out hunting. Like it's just what they
Yep.
did. I mean, Thanksgiving is literally this week. For anyone listening, yes, we pre-recorded this. So happy Thanksgiving, happy post Thanksgiving. There we go.
And if depending on when you're listening to this, Ohio's gun season starts the Monday after Thanksgiving. So if it's then, good luck. Be safe out there too.
how how long does that stretch for?
A week.
Oh, it's only a week.
That's it. It comes in for a week. It's the week after Thanksgiving,
Mm-hmm.
Monday to Sunday, and then it goes out for Monday through Friday, and then there's like a 2-day gun, and then not again until muzzleloader, which is I want to say it's like somewhere it's a week. They did it weird now.
Yeah.
Muzzleloader used to be like the week after Christmas, like sometime in there,
Yeah.
but now it's like January, like
Jeez.
like the first week or so in January. It's just
Yeah.
weird,
Oh my
and it's
God.
not. It doesn't come in like a week. It comes in on like a. It used to like a Tuesday through Sunday or like
Mm-hmm.
a Thursday to Tuesday. Like it's weird
Yeah.
when they bring it in.
And you guys have a long archery season like PA, where it's like like almost 2 months of archery season.
September 30th to February 4th. You can bow hunt the whole
Yeah.
season.
Yeah. So like the early season for us it was September 29th, 30th, and then it ended um, the 17th. I want to say, yeah, the 17th. So like it was almost 2 months really
Yeah.
of just pure archery is all you could do, and small
Yeah.
game here and there. And then bear comes in for Saturday to Tuesday, and then from Wednesday to Friday, nothing's in. I think turkey might be in for like 2 days here in PA, and then then you have deer. Then rifle comes in for 3 weeks. So and then and then you take a break off, and then after Christmas, archery comes back in. Late season muzzleloader archery comes back in. So I mean, we kind of have like our seasons kind of make sense, but also it's like, you know, why have such
You got me. Like
yeah.
I get it, and like the way I understood everything you said, but I'm like, why? I can literally bow hunt from the day it starts to the day it ends,
Yeah.
and I can gun hunt for a week and 2 days,
Mm-hmm.
and but I mean, yeah, no, but we don't have bear.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't like we got deer
Mm-hmm.
and turkeys. Like you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that's it. That's really the only big game we have
Yeah.
is deer and turkey.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So the it, let's start transitioning into double D here. So
Yep.
when you're primarily hunting private or public?
Private land.
Okay. And
Yep.
I know in your one post you said you can bait in this part of Ohio, correct?
The whole state.
Oh, the whole state of Ohio. Okay. Well, that's
I believe so. There may be a couple counties in Ohio that like they had EHD.
yeah.
And Ohio actually did like an early, kind of like a velvet season, but only like 3 counties
Okay.
in like north central Ohio.
Okay.
So you may not be able to there. I don't know. I don't hunt that area.
Yeah.
I usually hunt either southeast or east central.
Okay. All right. And can you only bait on private, or is it public as well?
No, you cannot bait on public.
Okay. All right. So
It's
that's
only
okay.
strictly private.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. That makes sense then, because here in PA you can't bait at all unless you're in like down towards a Philly area, I believe it is,
Mhm.
down towards Philly, because there's like no public at all, and they just need deer killed down there
Yeah.
pretty much.
Yeah.
Um.
Yeah.
So okay. So you can bait on this. How many acres do you hunt?
The farm that I shot him on was 48 acres.
Okay. All right. And how long have you had access to that property?
Since someone just asked me this the other day, I got permission to turkey hunt it in 20 the end of 2018 going into 2019, so like the spring of 2019.
Okay.
And then I asked to deer hunt it. I was told that somebody who was like new into hunting was gonna hunt it.
Yeah.
No biggie, whatever. Then the following year, I got a hold of it was actually a guy I work with. I was talking to his son, and I was like, yeah, I asked your dad for permission, and he said so and so was gonna hunt it, and he said nobody hunted out there this year.
Yeah.
And instantly, I like whipped out my phone and I texted him like, "Can I deer hunt this year?" And he's like, "Yeah, absolutely." So that was 2019.
Okay.
I'm sorry. 2018, I turkey hunted it.
Okay.
2019, I turkey hunted it, and then that was the first year that we could deer hunt it.
Okay. All right.
And then at the time, I got myself permission and then my brother permission.
Okay.
And
you had access to that whole farm, just the two of you, pretty much.
Until gun season, he did have a friend that gun hunts it. He'll hunt like the last 2 days, like the Saturday, Sunday of Thanksgiving, he'll bow hunt it.
Yeah.
And then after that, he just only gun hunts it.
Okay. All right.
So usually I don't even hunt. I like to gun hunt, but like he's been hunting there that long, I just pull out.
Yep.
And I've usually had a couple other spots I could go to, but normally the last few years up until last year, I kind of just didn't gun hunt at all.
Okay. All right.
So yeah, it was just me and my brother for all of bow season.
Okay. All right. And so the primarily would you guys have pre-hung stands, or like would you be kind of mobile on this property as well?
Previous to last year,
yeah,
it was pre-hung stands.
Okay.
We had on 48 acres, we had 2 pre-hung stands and a blind.
All right.
And that was it.
And
you think 48 acres, that's not a lot, and it wasn't.
Yeah, and you probably be hunting over bait because you can bait there, so like you would be hunting over corn, all that kind of stuff. Now, was it corn you put out? Like, could you put some kind of mineral out as well?
Mostly just corn.
Okay, all right.
I every once in a while I'll throw out some like Lucky Buck, or Big and J, like in the late season, like just something more to attract the deer more.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, we were primarily hunting over corn.
Yeah. And you probably killed some good buck over that, right?
Well, my brother did that year.
Yeah.
He killed I don't know the score, but it was like 140-inch 8-pointer.
Okay, that's a good 8-point. Yeah.
I mean, he was like, this deer was the biggest deer on the farm this year. Like, he killed the biggest deer we had on the farm the first week of season.
Yeah. Wow.
So I mean, he killed him like the first Friday. So deer season comes in. It's usually the last Saturday in September. We had a cold front roll in that Friday. He took a half day.
Yeah.
Went in and shot him that evening.
Oh my gosh! Wow, that is awesome.
That was crazy.
I have this new appreciation now for hunting over bait, because you're gonna see a lot of deer, but also you gotta be very cautious of any little movement you make, because they know someone's watching it. Like, they know that someone put bait out there. Like, you have to take your scent control into a factor all the time. You have to not be moving at all, pretty much. Like, you have to be perfect. It's just like hunting over a food plot, kind of. It's like they know that food's there. They know if someone's hunting that, they know where the stands are. Deer are very smart. They know where the stands are.
Yeah.
They know where the blinds are, all that kind of stuff. And it's like, it's once you do it, I feel like it's different. You think of it differently once you get your mind in that kind of situation. So you have these two stands, you have a blind, and How many trail cams are you running on this property at that time?
So when I first got the original picture, it was just 2.
Okay.
One. So the blind, the way this property is
Mm-hmm.
kind of like divided into thirds, I guess you could say. On the right side, it's in the center third is a big valley, and
Okay.
that's ultimately where I shot him. There's a big valley. It comes down, and I think at the widest part, it's like, I'd say like 40 yards wide. And then as it goes back, it kind of narrows down, but it's still like four-wheeler path width, like the whole way.
Right.
So on the right side of that third is the hillside for the valley, and up top it's got real thick bedding,
Mm-hmm.
mostly doe bedding.
Right.
And then the middle third is the valley. The other side is a hillside, the valley hillside, but also goes up and flattens off to a field. So the field is where I had the blind and another stand.
Okay.
And the second stand.
Right.
So everything was, so I only had the 2 cameras there at the time.
Okay.
And then after I got the first picture of him, I put out 5 cell cameras on 48 acres.
Okay. That'll cover some ground.
I was like, I need to find this deer.
Mm-hmm.
And the first picture I got of him was on September 8th.
Okay.
And I did not get another picture of him until October 15th.
Okay.
So that doesn't mean that he wasn't on the property.
Yeah.
But looking back where he came from the night that I shot him, it totally made sense now that he was not so much avoiding my cameras. He was just taking a different path that I didn't think that he was taking.
Okay. Yeah.
And so he was kind of like skirting the edge of the property, the very edge of it, and just kind of like making his way through.
Okay. Now, when you say September 8th, when you got the first picture of him, so September 8th of this year, you got this first picture. So that's the first time you ever saw him.
No, I had him last year.
Okay. All right.
I did have pictures of him last year, and like I said, he was maybe 130.
Yeah. Just solid 8.
Yeah, solid 8-pointer. Okay. Crazy. And the funny thing about it is, so I'm an electrician by trade,
mm-hmm.
and I just went into the office. So now I'm sitting at a desk all day.
Yeah.
Well, what do? You put pictures of your kids and deer, and they rotate. I'm sitting there, 2 monitors in front of me and my laptop to my right.
Mm-hmm.
And I had found some pictures from last year of some good deer that I was like, okay, I want to put, it's like, I'll just throw these up on there too.
Mm-hmm.
And it was right before I got pictures of him.
Okay.
So I put some pictures from last year up, got pictures of him, uploaded those ones onto the computer. I'm sitting there one day, and it like, the picture had changed on my laptop, and it caught my eye. And I happened to look over to my right, and I'm like, it's actually him. He's facing like this way, kind of angled like this.
Yeah.
But I could see his brow tines and how dark his rack was.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, that's him. Like, that's him from last year.
Right.
So I take a picture of it, and I send it to my buddy. I was like, is this him? And he's like, 100% that's him.
Yeah.
Come to find out, after I shot him, a buddy of mine was hunting the property with me last year. He didn't really have a great year last year, so he kind of like got out of deer, not so much got out of deer hunting, but kind of put more time into ducks.
Okay, yeah.
After I shot him, he told me, he said, remember last year after you shot your buck, I told you I missed that 1 8-pointer with the really tall brows?
Mm-hmm.
I was like, yeah. He's like, that was him. And I was like, no way. He's like, yeah, kind of glad I missed him last year.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah. So the same area, same blind I shot my buck out of last year, he missed him out of.
Really?
I mean, just a couple weeks after me.
And
like, I would say within a week or two after me.
And that probably taught him, that buck there, of like, what not to do or when to go out there because there's a blind
Yeah.
there now. He's like that taught him right away that hey,
Yeah.
this is a bad area.
Yeah, we pulled that blind after that.
Yeah.
We it was kind of like a turd in a punch bowl.
Yeah.
Where I had to set it up, it was open. Like there was no cover. It
Right.
was on that lane. But I knew I set it up early enough to where it didn't really bother them as much until we started hunting out of it.
Right.
And then they could see in it. So, or they kind of just sensed somebody was there.
Yeah.
But yeah, since then, like as soon as he missed that deer, I think I pulled that blind within a couple weeks, and then never put one back in that spot again.
Okay. All right. So the first picture you had of him was the previous year before you shot him. He was an 8-point.
Yep.
Your buddy missed him. And then this year you get a picture of him on September 8th. So then you're like, okay, I gotta narrow this guy down. I gotta figure out where he's going. So what was your kind of like your tactic for placing these trail cameras?
I had an idea of the initial picture I got of him, where he was coming from.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people say like, the deer will come in and J hook and yeah, that is the case. But in this particular spot in this bottom, like he'd have had to go all the way up on the hillside and come down. Like deer are lazy. They're going to take the path of least resistance.
Yes. Yep. 100%.
So I knew he came off of one of those ridges, straight down through the 4-wheeler path and right to the corn pile that I had there on September 8th.
Yeah.
And another thing, a reason I think I got the first initial picture of him is where that camera in the corn was, and where I think he came off of. The night that I got pictures of him, it was like a cooler evening.
Yeah.
And there was a bunch of deer in front of it.
Okay.
And I think that he visually saw those deer down there because as soon as I got the first picture of him, all the other deer were gone.
Really?
And I don't want to say he was aggressive.
Yeah.
Because there's no marks on his tines or nothing like that where he even broke anything. But I think he was the dominant buck in that area.
Yeah.
So he just kind of and there was nothing crazy that was in there with him, a couple 4-pointers and stuff like that and some does, but he pushed them off.
Yeah.
And then he disappeared and came back. And when he did that, he actually went over and made a scrape, 2 giant car hood size scrapes. And I knew it was him because I went out the following day. I was actually planning to go out the following day to do some property maintenance and, just kind of check everything. And I seen him. And I was like, those weren't here last week when I was here.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. I mean, he's definitely has to be a dominant buck. I mean, he's a big buck that everyone else would not want to, no 4-point would match up to him at all. And then doe also, during the rut, I'm sure, they say sometimes does seek out the mature bucks. And I think the mature doe would seek him out. He probably wouldn't have to go very far to seek anyone.
No, he was definitely. And like I said, I got the first picture of him on September 8th, and I didn't get another picture until September 15th.
Okay.
And in that time, I had a couple good deer on the property.
Yeah.
And they disappeared.
The nice ones you had, so him and the nice ones disappeared, or just the nice ones, and he's
just the nice ones, the other deer, the other bucks. He showed up on the 15th, and I had pictures of him the 15th, 16th, and 17th, which was Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. He disappeared Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and showed up Saturday night into Sunday morning.
Okay.
Which is the day that I shot it.
Yeah. So
he was.
Go ahead. Was he coming to the corn piles at night? Was that his forte, kind of?
Yes.
All right.
Yep.
All right.
And like you said earlier, I knew in my heart I wasn't going to shoot this deer over a corn pile.
Right. Yeah.
Because he's hitting them at night, and you just a deer of this caliber, like you very seldom see people actually shoot them over corn piles.
Right.
Like they're smart.
Mm-hmm.
This deer's probably been coming to a corn pile his entire life.
Yeah.
Whether it's mine or the neighbors, because I wasn't the only one that had corn out, because I got pictures after the fact of him eating at a corn pile in dark.
Yeah.
So I was like, I know, like I have to kind of like that feed to bed thing. Like he wasn't betting on me, but I was like, I need to figure out where he's coming from. And then from there, I need to get basically as close to him as I can.
Right.
Before he gets to this corn. So maybe I can, in that like twilight, like very last light, I could maybe get an arrow in him.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it makes sense. If he's coming to these corn piles in dark, it's like, man, like right away. Like what time usually was it, like midnight, 1 o'clock, something like that?
The first time it was like 3 o'clock in the morning, and then
Okay.
it was 2 o'clock, and then that Tuesday night was like 9:30, and I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like,
It's getting a little closer.
There.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then he disappeared.
Yeah. Oh God.
For 4 days.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the hell? And then the next picture was 4 o'clock in the morning again.
Yeah.
On Sunday.
Man. And then, so you had those pictures, you had that data, you're like, okay, I want to get on this buck. I know I can't hunt the corn pile, all that kind of stuff. So like, what was your next step to figuring out where to set up, how to set up, what wind, maybe even that?
So what I did, actually, I think it was October 14th.
Mm-hmm.
It was like gonna be like real rainy.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, like I know, like I got it. So the day before I got pictures of him. This is funny. I was like, I know he's got to be around.
Right.
In September, the week of the 6th through the 9th, my dad came up. He normally goes to he lives in Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
My parents live in Tennessee. He usually goes to Wyoming every year, the first full week in November.
Mm-hmm.
Well, with EHD out there, they basically, nobody that hunts the ranch that he does got drawn for tags this year.
Because of the HD.
Yeah. So, I mean, everybody, like, so he was like, kind of like, I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, come to Ohio, buy a tag, come to Ohio. And I was like, I got some places we can go. So he comes up the 6th to the 9th, and we hunted the farm that I shot him on, but it wasn't, I don't even want to call it an observation sit. I was just more or less sitting in one spot where the last place I seen him, and then he was on another spot. Like, he was on the field.
Yeah.
And I was in the bottom.
Okay.
And I'm like thinking, like, man, he's got to be here somewhere. Like, I'm sitting in that blind just kind of like, he's got to be here somewhere. So Dad leaves. We had a great hunt that weekend. The following weekend rolls around, and it was going to be rainy, like real rainy, nasty in the morning. And then I told my daughter, she's 5, I was like, I'll take you hunting in the evening. We usually do that once a year.
Yeah.
So I was like, let me do some stuff in the morning. It's going to be nasty anyway. So that morning I went out, hunted for like an hour, and I pulled every cell camera I had on a different farm and had them in a backpack.
Yeah.
And I put boots to the ground on this property. And I mean, I literally walked every single acre, every single piece of that property, all 48 acres. I walked the whole thing.
Wow.
And found some really good scrapes. I'm like, this is it. This is where he's going to be. Threw a camera up. Went down, found some other spots. I'm like, man, he's coming through here. Gotta be. Put a camera up. And the last camera I had a camera there previously. And I kind of walk up. It was the very bottom of that valley where all the ridges come together. There's 3 ridges.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, one dead center and then the 2 that come down this way.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, the last time I had pictures, I knew he was coming from this direction. And I kind of, for some reason, just I just had this gut feeling. I'm like, I'm going to peel to the right and go up the right,
Mm-hmm.
because it's the very back side of the doe bedding,
Okay.
a real thick part. I'm like, maybe.
Yeah.
So I creep up over that hill. Instantly, fresh rubs everywhere. No
Yeah.
scrapes, just fresh rubs everywhere. And I'm like, dude, this probably ain't it. Like, you just had scrapes, like fresh scrapes. Like, he's definitely gonna hit those. I was like, just throw a camera up here. Why not?
Yeah.
Sure as shit. The very last camera that I put out in that spot is the first pictures I got. First picture I had gotten of him since September 8th.
Oh, what? So, oh my gosh,
So
dude.
I almost didn't.
Yeah.
Put the camera out there.
Right.
I was like, dude, like, you've already had a camera here and you never got pictures of him.
Right.
But I'm like, yeah, but there's like, I was having like that, that person on each shoulder, like, dude,
Yep.
you've already had camera here, blah blah. Don't put one here. And then this dude's like, yeah, but there's fresh rubs here,
Mm-hmm.
and like a good trail. And I'm like, okay, why not? Let's do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, what's it gonna hurt? I'm already paying for the subscription.
Yeah.
It's just gonna burn up in my backpack.
Right. Right.
And I'm glad I did, because I got pictures of him there. So it'd be the morning of the 15th,
Okay. All right.
like 3 or 4 in the morning.
Okay. So that was probably where he was, very close to where he was betting at.
No,
on his
I don't
way.
think he was. I don't think he was betting on me at all,
Okay.
because where where I littered the cameras was literally not. I wasn't on the property lines,
Yeah.
but like I was like very close to them,
Right.
and I knew like if he's coming through here, he's not betting on me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, and the picture I got, he was coming from the neighbor's property onto mine.
Okay. All right.
And I'm like, so he's not betting on me at all. And it's weird to say. And there are some, but I don't have a lot of buck betting on my property.
Right.
I have a lot of doe betting, which is great during the rut.
Yeah.
But during the season, like, I don't have, and the majority of my property is thick, but it's just, I don't have that, when you see a buck bed, you're like, that's a buck bed.
Yeah.
I don't have that.
Okay. All right. So do these neighbors around you, do they hunt, do they bait, all that kind of stuff too?
Yeah.
Okay.
So come to find out, there's a big chunk behind me. It's like 400 acres. The only reason I found out it was a lease was because one of the guys, his buddy, sent me pictures of him after I shot him.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, that's a lease. And I'm like, I had no idea.
Jeez.
And then, so that's to my west.
Yeah.
Which is basically where he came from. He came from that lease.
Okay.
The north side of me, it's a big cow field, but in the very corner of the cow field is a shooting house.
Mm-hmm. So rifles.
And then, yeah. So to my south is, they gun hunt mostly.
Okay.
And then east of me is like my property. So and it goes out to the road. So it's not, nobody's hunting to the east of me. It'd have to be from across the road.
So that makes a lot of sense. If that lease is there, that he's coming from that lease, there's probably a lot of people on that lease that probably put a lot of pressure. They have the pre-hung stands, that he knows where they are, and he's like, well, I'm not going to go in there because they're probably scattered all over the place. He pushes out to you because he knows the other people gun hunt and you don't gun hunt. Only that certain time frame, there's gun hunters on that property. Yeah. So it's like he knows that time of year, and all he has to do is like just skirt your corn, pretty much. Like
exactly.
So So you find that, you find all those rubs, you have him coming out of the lease property. So what was your next step after that? After getting at 3-4 a.m. in the morning?
So that was Sunday.
Yeah.
So this to kind of add into that. I didn't hunt Sunday. After me and my daughter got home, we didn't hunt very long, couple hours. She was ready to go.
Yeah.
And so what do you do on a Saturday evening? I drank beer.
Yep.
So I drank beer. Yeah, there you go. And so Sunday morning rolls around, and I had a few.
Yep.
So I didn't wake up super early.
Right.
So by that time, my oldest, my 5-year-old, is in my face. Like,
Yeah.
I don't even know what time it was. And what's the first thing you do with a cell camera when you wake up?
You check it.
You roll over and you check the app.
Yeah.
So I'm scrolling through, and all of a sudden, boom, there he is. And I just started screaming, "He's back! He's back!" And my daughter's like, "He's back! He's back!" Like, she don't know what I'm talking
Yeah.
about, but she was just as hyped as I was.
Right.
And so that was funny. So I'm like, okay, is this a fluke? Is this the one picture that I'm going to get? So, well, so he hit that camera, and then he eventually made his way to the corn, but it took him a while.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, what's he doing in the meantime? And I was like, okay, well, it's Sunday. I'm not going to hunt this evening.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at the weather. There's a cold front rolling in this weekend. It's like, you probably still not going to see him. I was like, but you need to be in the woods this weekend.
Right.
So I'm sitting there Monday, Tuesday, or Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. I'm getting pictures of him. And I'm like, oh, okay. And then he disappears. And I'm like, shit.
Yeah.
Okay, so I had some meetings at work on Friday. And I was like, it's going to rain Friday. It's like, I'm going to grab my retrograde, my X2s. I was like, Friday, as soon as I get out of work, I'm heading down there. It was like an hour drive from work to the property. Like, I'm heading down there. And I'm gonna hang a set. Like, he's not betting on me, obviously. He's not gonna be around, and I can get in there, hang a set, and leave pretty quietly, and all that scent's gonna be washed away because it's raining.
Yeah, perfect.
So that's exactly what I did. So that was September 20th.
Yeah.
Or sorry, October 20th.
Yeah.
So I ran down there, hung the set in the rain. Actually had to hang it twice because the first tree I picked, I got up there and I was like, no, I'm not doing this. So I tore everything down, hung it back up.
Hate
I'm like,
when
okay,
that happens.
This is where I need to be. And it was like, I'm like spitting distance from that trail camera that I got pictures of him the first time.
Right.
So from Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, I didn't get another picture of him on that camera.
Okay.
But I got a picture of him in the bottom, in front of the corn. So I'm like, okay. So I'm like thinking, like, as I'm sitting in the stand that Sunday morning, I'm like, I need to move.
Yeah.
Like, I need to, like, this is a great spot. And I've got pictures of him here. I was like, but obviously this isn't the only trail that he comes in on.
Right.
So I hunt that morning, and I come back to the house, trying to do the whole dad thing, and the whole time I'm like, dude, I need to move. Yep. I have to move that stand.
Yeah.
So did a bunch of honeydew stuff, kissed ass as much as I could.
Yep.
And I'm like, it's like 2:30. And I'm like, I have to go now. Like, if I'm going to move this set, I have to leave right now.
You're like sitting on the couch like, well, honey, I guess
well, so my kids usually take a nap
doing
about
anything.
2:30. So I was like, that's my opportunity to leave. As soon as I was like, I ain't never been so fast at putting him down for a nap in my life. Yes. She was like, yo, you're going to put him down before you leave. And I was like, deal. Because whatever happens when I leave this house is, sorry, I'm gone.
Bet, time me.
Yeah, so I was like, so I get him down, and I head to the property. I go in, and like, this property it's kind of funny. Like, I have zero worry about the deer hearing me and, like, spooking. Like, the landowner and his wife walk this property. They literally walk they walk like a circle around the corn every day.
Yeah.
The neighbor to my north, the cattle farmers, they're working the farm every day, and their fence butts all the way up to the property line.
Okay.
So I know, and like the landowner's always in there with the tractor and stuff, like, and I've literally had deer within minutes. And I mean, I'm talking probably followed them out on camera. Like the last picture I got of them, within minutes,
Yeah.
there's a deer in there.
Yeah. It's pretty
So
impressive.
it's like, it's like, and like, I don't want to say I throw caution to the wind when it comes to scent, but like, there's a lot of scent in that bottom all the time.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, the deer kind of come in a little leery, but I very seldom had them actually wind me and spook.
Yeah.
Normally it's just like they kind of like, nose around. Like, who knows? The landowner could have walked in there 5 minutes before I did.
Mm-hmm.
And their ground sense there, but like I said, I've had deer within minutes.
Yep.
So I knew, first of all, he wasn't betting on me. And second of all, I could get away with, I could go out and run a chainsaw. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to bother these deer. So I go in, I walk straight down the 4-wheeler path, cut up the hill, pull that whole set. Well, so first of all, when I walked in, as I was walking in, I kind of picked out a tree. I'm like, okay, that's the one I'm going to sit in.
Mm-hmm.
So I went and put backpack, bow, everything at the base of that tree. I was like, this is the one I'm going to sit in. It's the best spot for where I'm at, where I need to be. So I peel up the hill, pull that entire set, hang the whole set, and this is like within an hour. So the property's like 40 minutes from me.
Okay.
Roughly. So I left at 2:30. I was completely set up, ready to hunt by 3:45.
Okay. Yep.
So right around an hour or so, I was ready, completely ready to go.
Yeah.
So the reason I had to move is because I was like, the ridge I was on comes down, the other ridge comes down, and then the one in the middle. The ridge I was on, if he come off of that, where I was sitting at in the evening, was a 15-yard poke.
Yeah.
Probably less than that. Like, it was literally right there.
Okay.
But I knew, I was like, I need to be able to shoot into the bottom.
Right.
Because even if he doesn't come off of this trail, but he sneaks through the bottom, I know in my gut, like, if I knew it was a possibility he was going to do that, and I didn't move, and I watched him walk by, that it tore me up, because then I would have had to walk past him.
Yeah.
To get out. So I was like, I had to make that move.
Yeah.
And the one thing I kept telling myself over and over, like from the very first time I got pictures of him, was like, I have to be there the first time he daylights.
Yes.
Like, that is like my, like, I knew, like, well, sorry. The first picture I ever got of him was in the daylight.
Yeah.
But it was September 8th.
Yes. Yeah.
But I was like, the hunting pressure's on from the other farms.
Yep.
I literally hunted. I hate to say this, but like, I only put one day in technically hunting him, and it was the day I killed him.
Yeah.
Yes, I hunted the property. I shot a doe opening morning on the top. I had hunted that bottom a couple times. Like, I hunted it when my dad came in with my daughter, but I never like I knew, like, I'm not gonna see him.
Yeah.
I haven't had a picture of him in forever. It's like, I'm not.
It wasn't strategic. It wasn't like you were planning to purely go after him those days.
Yeah. I more or less just went in there to watch nature.
Right.
I was
exactly.
Like, maybe. Just like the night I killed him, like, I didn't think he was gonna come in.
Yeah.
But like, I had that feeling like, man, the weather's perfect. Like, so that was Sunday. I didn't hunt Saturday because the weather was kind of warm. We had just got concrete in the barn. We were sealing the floors and stuff. So I was like, hell with it, I'll just drink some beer.
Yeah.
drink enough beer during the middle of the day. That way I can still wake up in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
So I did that. And so like I knew I was like Sunday is going to be the better day. Don't even hunt Saturday. And I even said it on it might have been my phone or something. I was like, I don't think he's going to daylight. It's like, but if the conditions are right, there's a possibility that he will.
Right.
And he was, I mean, obviously the last deer I seen that night, but because it wasn't nothing coming in after I shot him.
Yeah.
So do you want me to go ahead and transition into
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, man. Let's just go right in. If that was the last
Okay.
thing leading up to the hunt, like let's go right into that then.
Yeah. Moving the stand.
Yep.
I peeled back about 50 yards, hung the set. I was like, okay, this is where I need to be. So I'm sitting there. You know, it's like at this time it's like 3:45, 4 o'clock, and I guess kind of early.
Mm-hmm.
Like deer are probably going to move, so I'm just kind of scrolling through my phone,
Mm-hmm.
and then boom, trail camera picture from behind me.
Yeah.
Turn back. There's some does in there. Well, sorry. I had just kind of like it was probably like 4:30. You know, after pulling the stand, kind of like back's kind of bothering me. So
Yeah.
I sat down. And I kind of like almost like went to like turn to stretch, and I looked back. I seen like a hind end and a leg moving.
Yeah.
Like, uh-oh. So I throw out my binos. It's a doe. Okay. She feeds down, or she walks down, feeds into the corn. And then she like disappears. And then I'm scrolling on my phone again. Boom, another trail camera picture. Deer come from the other way this time.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So throughout the night, I think I seen like three does before 6 o'clock.
Okay.
And then it was like 6:25. I hear something to my right, and I look, and it started like, did I send you the video of the shot?
I'll have to double check. I don't think you did.
Okay, if not, I will.
Yeah.
I mean, there's still plenty of camera light, but it's starting to get like darker in the timber.
Gray light, kinda.
Yeah, something like that. So
yeah.
I look to my right and I see like this like dark body, kind of like coming through the thick stuff, and I look, and it's a doe, and she kind of like comes out. So I'm on that hillside, so she kind of comes down, dips down, and walks right to my right.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, so I like grab my phone, or my phone was already in my hand, and I just kind of like pan to my right and film her all the way until she walks past me.
Mm-hmm.
Well, as she's walking past me, I heard something to my left, or kind of like in front of me. So to set the scenario, that lane that goes to the bottom, I'm paralleling it. So I'm sitting facing the three ridges, facing the right ridge, but I'm facing that direction. Like I'm paralleling the bottom.
Yeah.
To where if he walks through the bottom, broadside shot.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm a right-handed shooter.
Right.
So I hear something like coming from like right there at the very end of the four-wheeler path where all the ridges come together. I'm kind of like looking, and I could hear it walking, and I'm like, it's getting, like crying time. Like, I don't think that's a squirrel.
Yeah.
So I'm looking, and I see a pair of legs, and I was like, okay, all right, it's a deer. And I see a glint of horn, but I'm like, that kind of looks like a small buck. Like, it was kind of like through some thick stuff. I'm like, I don't know.
Just a spike.
I'm like, that's a 4-pointer or something. I didn't expect for it to be a double drop time buck. So I'm like looking in front of me, and I pull my binos up as he's starting to break some of the cover he was under.
Mm-hmm.
I pull my binos up, and they literally hit my eyes for a second. And I seen it had been like from your view, this side. Oh. And I was like, oh, that's him. And
Yeah.
I don't remember like sliding my binos back in my harness. I just like slammed him in there.
Yeah.
Like, for all I know, I could have dropped him
Yeah.
at that time. Like, I don't know. But when that doe walked by and I seen the deer in front of me, I like pulled the camera over. I'm like something told me like, pull the camera over, turn it on.
Yeah.
Okay. And then and then I grabbed my bow. I'm like, what? Like looking back on it, like if it was you weren't going to shoot a doe
Right. Yeah.
that evening anyways, why did you grab your bow? Like,
Yeah.
what made you bring the camera over
That
and
gut
turn it
feeling.
on?
That gut feeling.
Yeah, like, yeah, I'm like,
Yep.
it just kind of like it was weird.
Yeah.
Like looking back on it, like at the time it was perfect, made perfect sense. I'm like, well, and I think like, oh, if it's a deer, you film it, something like that.
Yeah.
But me grabbing my bow, like it didn't make sense.
Yeah.
So by I hold my bow, my binos hit my eyes, boom, it's him. Slam my binos back in my harness. And I'm like, dude, that's him. Like that's the deer you came in to shoot.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm like trying to run this through my mind as he's walking in, and I was like, oh gosh. So I'm like, I push record. I mean, and this video is like about as wide as the camera goes. so, so I mean, you see the entire bottom, and you see a deer come into frame.
Yeah. It's almost like a GoPro footage where you just like kind of
Yeah, exactly.
you don't care anymore. It's just like
like I said, I wasn't expecting this to be coming through the timber.
No.
Like, not at all.
Yeah.
So he comes in, he walks in, and I'm like, threw my release on my bow, and I'm like, he's gonna walk through this opening right here to my left.
Yeah.
I mean, literally broadside, 20-ish yards. So I draw my bow back, and I'm watching him, and I told everybody prior to me watching the video back, I told everybody I shot him walking.
Yeah.
No, he stopped. But then like thinking back on it too, I remember him stopping because I just put my pin right in the center of that gap that I had. It was probably a 15-yard gap, like wide.
Yeah.
And I just put my pin in the very center of it. I'm like, I'm not gonna stop him. Like lead the shoulder, like,
Yep.
and I'm not stopping him because I know deer like that, you at him or something, he's gonna bolt.
Yeah. Yeah. He's been met too many times.
Yeah, there's no way I'm stopping this deer. So I'm sitting there. He walks into frame, and he stops. And I just remember, like, my pin was like hindsight was like about 3 foot off of him.
Yeah.
And literally, like, it was like a magnet. Like my bow just boom and dead stopped right behind his shoulder. And I shoot a Scott Longhorn hex, so it's like the back tension release.
Yeah. Yep.
I didn't even hear it click. I'm pretty sure I just ripped right through that thing. And I shot, and I watched that arrow track right at him. And when it hit, he did a big mule kick, did that like real like grunt almost. And I'm like, the shot was the kind of low you want.
Yeah.
I'm like, he mule kicked, like that's a heart shot.
Yeah.
So I'm like, instantly, like, and the arrow buried in the offside shoulder. In the video, you kind of see him kind of like not running on his face, but like his front end is down. He runs down the hill, up, turns to the right, and then what I thought was I heard him crash. And I'm like, well, there's 2 things that happened. He either crashed or he just kicked every single deer off this property because it was loud as hell.
Yeah.
I mean, I would say the loudest crash I've ever heard in my, and I've had deer, I've seen some of my deer fall. Like
Yeah.
I've watched them fall.
Mm-hmm.
It was the loudest crash I've ever heard in my life. And I'm like, so that's a good thing or a bad thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm still in shock, and you can hear on the video like you hear me say, I smoked him, and then you just hear, holy fucking shit, holy fucking shit, holy fucking shit. And it's funny, I played it back for my wife.
Yeah.
And she was like, you can't air some of that because all you did was cuss. So I'm gonna have to edit that out later. But
yeah.
So instantly, I call her, I FaceTimed her. All the kids were around, driving her nuts. Go figure.
Yep. Of course.
Tell her what's going on. I FaceTime my dad. Because he, like I said, I got him permission to hunt this farm.
Yeah.
So if he stepped out in front of him, like, I'd have beat his ass if he didn't shoot him.
Yeah.
But deep down, he wanted me to shoot him because it was my farm. It was,
right.
you know. So I FaceTime him. He's out in the barn with the neighbors, and they're having a good time drinking beers and stuff. And I call him, and I told him what happened, and he like, hell yeah, you know, that's awesome. He's like, let me see the footage.
Yeah.
He's like, let me see it now. So I'm like, okay. It's like, dude, I was still recording. On the main camera. It was pointing at the woods.
Yeah.
But I had the second angle up here that was recording too.
Yep.
So I turn the camera off, go back, or turn the record off, go back and look. And I'm FaceTiming him and trying to look over my phone at the same time.
Yep.
So that we could both see what happens. And he confirmed it too. I heart shot him.
Yeah.
Okay. He's like, go find him. And I'm like, okay. He's like, go find him now. Like, get down now and go find him. Okay. So I climbed down. I didn't take a flashlight. Like, it's getting dark.
Yeah.
I didn't take my flashlight. I had my phone on me, but in just the moment, like, the blood was so good that I could follow it, even though it was getting darker.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I could follow the blood. So I kind of went up the hill, and I kind of had to go around like a tree or a log or something like that, and I like lost blood to the left.
Yeah.
That's because it was on the right side.
Right.
But I didn't think about it at first. So I kind of like come back to last blood. I'm like, oh, you idiot. It's to the right.
Yeah.
So I get to the top of the hill, and instantly I smell a deer.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, he's dead. Like, and I'm just whiffing it in. And I'm like, yeah, he's dead. And there he was, 50 yards from where I shot him, piled up. And like the way he like laid, I've got a picture of it. I'll send you too.
Yeah.
Like how he was laying. Like he was literally laying like this, like nose on the ground. Just, I mean, this one side was like in some like little scrub brush, but I mean, you could literally, like, he was literally laying like this.
Oh my gosh,
dude, it was
damn.
It was incredible,
man. What a day! Like going in there and like not expecting to shoot him. Not like your standards weren't like high. Like, oh, I'm gonna go in here. This is the day I kill him. All that kind of stuff.
No,
it was like going in there because the possibility of shooting him was there, and like you moved your setup from what I counted, like the third time, right? Because like he had it one spot, then he moved to another spot, then he moved it back 50 yards because you felt your gut was telling you to set up here, and like that was one thing. Like I'm trying to trust more is my gut, you know, because like your gut is like if inside of us, like we go back to the beginning of the episode where we talked about like it's inside of us to hunt, right?
Mm-hmm.
The gut will tell you, like, trust your gut and go with it. Like, if your gut tells you, hey, this isn't the spot, move. And then just do, like, that just, you're not the first person, you're not going to be the last person that says that, because that's like everyone, just trust your gut. But that's crazy that he comes in, like, you're seeing, like, all these does, all that kind of stuff, and I'm sure some people will be like, kind of be like, well, you know, you're using cell cams, like they're notifying you when they're coming up, like all that kind of stuff. Like there's going to be people that say that. There're going to be people that say, you know, you're hunting over bait, like it's not that great of an accomplishment. Like, dude, it's a 184-inch buck. Like, it's an accomplishment no matter where it was shot. If it was shot, if it was shot on a preserve, maybe you probably won't be on the podcast. If it was on a preserve, you know, all that kind of stuff. But like, this is a free range buck that like that has a mind of its own that clearly was outsmarting everyone. The people in the
Yeah.
lease, the rifle hunter farmers, like your buddy
Hmm.
who luckily did not shoot him, you know.
Yeah. No kidding. Yeah.
So I mean, but like that walk up moment, like is that when when you broke down, or was when it was on the phone with your wife?
It was when I was a little bit of both. I didn't initially when I called her and FaceTimed her, I kept saying thank you, thank you, thank
Yeah.
you. But it wasn't until I got my hands on him and I called her back and told her I found him, and that's kind of like where that breakdown came from.
Yeah.
And that was kind of like that surreal moment. And then obviously I called her first. That's since we got together, anytime I shoot a turkey, a deer, anything, like she is the first one I call.
Yep.
Has been, always will be. And then it was my dad. I called him next.
Yep.
And then tried to call a buddy of mine, and he got upset with me after because he's like, you didn't call me. Like I tried to. Your phone went to voicemail, and it's the whole thing.
Yeah.
And then I called my brother, who you'd have thought he just shot the deer.
Yeah.
I mean, he was elated. I mean, just jacked.
Yep.
But after all those initial phone calls were over, like I just sat there. Like, so I'm sitting there, like, in Ohio, you have to tag them before you touch them.
Right.
Sorry. I grabbed his rack. But I'm sitting there talking to my dad, and I'm like, I need to tag him before I move him.
Yeah.
I'm holding his rack. I was like, I need to tag him before I move him.
Yeah.
So I'm on FaceTime I'm FaceTiming with my dad to go through the app, telecheck him. He's done. So then after all the initial phone calls, I'm just sitting there like I couldn't touch him. Like I literally just sat there as it's getting darker and darker. And I'm just like staring at him in my phone light.
Yeah.
Like it was just like one of those, like I've never had like that with any other deer, like where I was like just sat there and took the moment in.
Yeah. Just
like,
soaked it in.
And don't get me wrong, every deer I've shot has been a blessing. It's been awesome.
Yeah.
But this deer, since the day I got a picture of him, has been on my mind constantly.
Yeah.
I mean, 24/7 has been on my mind. To go in and put a plan together and have the plan go perfectly.
Right.
Like, I mean, I kid you not. Like the move in the stand, the intel I got. Like I spent that Tuesday, Wednesday, or Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, looking at the weather.
Yeah.
Seeing what the wind, what I would look at the time, the date, the weather, the wind direction. Like I knew anything that was a north wind I could get away with.
Right.
Because he was not coming in with his nose. Well, he was not coming in downwind.
Yeah.
He was just comfortable enough there that he threw caution to the wind and didn't pay attention to it that much, I would say.
Yeah.
But I knew where I was, where I needed to be. I had a northwest wind, and I was like, that's perfect.
Yep.
So I had the wind, I had the weather, I had the whole game plan of getting in there, being mobile.
Yeah.
Like that, like just like getting. I gotta give it to XOP, like getting a hold of Tom and Brock and all them, like that didn't kill this deer for me.
Yeah.
But that was like, that really lit that fire under me to like, you can do this. You can get closer to him now that you've got all the tools. Like that was like getting partnered with XOP this year was like that. Like, I guess you could say like final piece of the puzzle.
Yeah.
Other than getting pictures of him, but like that final piece of the puzzle, like now you have everything. You have all this information. You have all these tools. If this deer shows up, you could kill him. Like it's a possibility that I could kill him. I could go out there, get in a tree, silent. I wasn't silent, but I could get in a tree, dead silent, and be able to harvest a deer, not over a corn pile anymore.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Like like that scout more than you hunt mentality.
Yeah.
Like I listened to, with being in the office, I mean, you guys have had Ryan Glitsky on several times.
Yeah.
I mean, I listened to, if I typed in Glitsky's name, Justin Hollinsworth's name, Heath Cisco, Andre DeQuisto, Cody DeQuisto, like,
yep,
anybody who was in that mobile hunting game,
yeah,
I literally typed their name in and I would listen to, no matter what podcast it was.
Yeah.
I would listen to it, like, sometimes on repeat, same episodes, just to try and gain that extra intel.
Yep.
And information to put into my own game plan to try and get this deer on the ground.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, it's crazy the amount of knowledge is out there, like free knowledge now. Like it's free knowledge for like everyone to just listen to and to soak in. It's like, that's why me personally, like, it's kind of selfish because like I have people on because I want to learn from all these people. Like, like even from you, like I learn bits of information from, like I take that and I put that into what I'm doing, like, and I completely agree with you with XOP. Like, it's a tool in your tool belt, but also like they make great tree stands, they make great sticks. Like the X2s, I freaking love them. Like you can, even if you don't buy a tree stand from them, I would highly recommend buying the sticks from them because they're freaking great. But like also like for the listeners out there that maybe can't afford that stuff, like you can go to Walmart and buy the real tree hang on or whatever you want from there, and you can do it. It's going to be harder. It's going to be, more weight you got to carry in, but you can do it. What I recommend if you do buy those tree stands from Walmart is buy the XOP carrying system to carry them. Helps out a lot.
Spend that $80,
yes,
$89 and buy that the
yes.
game of TS.
yes. But like that's the cool thing about being mobile, especially in this day and age, is like there's so many options out there to be mobile. Like even if you can't afford the top end stuff, XOP is reasonably priced, I think. Also, go use our discount code in the description of this podcast. But
link in the bio.
Link in bio. But yeah, like you have like the Lone Wolf Custom Gear, you have Elevation Stand Company, you have all these stand companies, you have Beast stands and all that kind of stuff. You can't forget the Beast stands. But you have all those stands. Like there's so many options, but like, even if you can't afford that stuff, go to Walmart, get some, buy what you can afford. They have, if you can only afford a climber, go buy a nice climber somewhere, a Summit, I don't even know what the other ones are. Field and Stream. I had a Field and Stream, an API. XOP has one actually. But they have a new one coming out, so look for that. But like, it's like you said, it's a tool in your tool belt that it helped you get closer to them, but yet also you had all the other tools coming in too from all these podcasts, and it was able to because so let's say you weren't in the office and you weren't listening to these podcasts as much, like you may still have been hunting over those corn piles or like hunting out of the blind, be like, okay, this is a nice deer coming in, I'm gonna shoot that one. And then you have those two cell cams where you get him every once in a while on there, that kind of stuff. It's like, man, being awesome to get him, but I don't know the next step. And that's like, that's the great thing about podcast and being mobile is that.
Like like in the story of the things I've posted, like I don't want to say gave it a shout out, but like I gave thanks to like you guys and the other guys who are running podcasts and the guys who are the guys that I learned from. Like that was like the only way that I could say like thank you to them without giving them a hug. You know what I mean? Like like that was the only way. And like, and Justin Hollinsworth, same with Heath Cisco too. But like when I first got the pictures of him, like very, very, very few people got the pictures of him. I sent them to Justin, and Justin was really really cool, and definitely gave me some help and advice and stuff like that. So that was like, a guy that I watch on YouTube, like he still took the time to kind of like give me like dumbed down advice
Yeah.
for a guy like me who definitely needed some dumbed down advice. Like I mean, they take that stuff to a high level.
Yeah, they do.
I mean, Cody's shooting deer, literally putting their knees down to go to bed.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying that's what I did, but I used in the one thing about me is I'll do a lot of research.
Yeah.
And I will literally pick apart. I will pick pieces of information from everybody
Mm-hmm.
and put it into one, like pieces that I think would benefit me.
Right. Yeah.
Like or I see how they did it, and like that's what I do. Like, I don't hunt the big woods or the mountains of PA like you do or
Yeah.
Glitzky ducks.
Yep.
But like Justin and Heath, they hunt very similar terrain to what I'm hunting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Same with Cody. Cody hunts, and I wouldn't say where I hunted was flatland, but like compared to what you hunt,
Yeah.
it's flat. Yeah, it's flat.
Yeah.
So like the like Glitzky, like the sign and stuff like that. He was another one too. I was messaging back and forth on Instagram and stuff like that. Like super cool dude.
Oh yeah.
Anytime I tagged him in anything, or like even like a couple times like he like commented on my stuff, I'm like, dude, like that is like that and then like you get like guys like that, like it's like a little confidence boost. It's like, okay, like this dude thinks I can go kill this deer, like I think I can go kill this deer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gives you a little boost of confidence to get in there. Dude, I 100% agree with that. 100%. Because I mean, you look at like these from the outside, looking in, like these guys you put on such a high pedestal, like you put them up there, and it's like they're like famous to you and to other people because it's like because they're on the podcast, they're on like YouTube channels, they're doing like they're doing something that you want to do or someone wants to do of getting a nice buck, like everyone wants to get a nice buck down and have this like story behind it, and you have that now. You have that story behind it, and now you can just like kind of build off that. So my question to that is like going in the next couple years, like even next year, like what's your standard going to be like for buck? Now that you got him down, like is your standard changing at all? Or are you going to hit more public now, or what's the next step?
So I want to get more into the videography stuff.
Okay.
Like I shouldn't say never. The likelihood of me shooting another double drop tine is 0%. But I mean, I hunt Ohio. Like we've got big deer here.
Oh yeah. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. We ain't got this every day.
Yeah.
Or even like, like a good deer for me in Ohio is between 130 and 160.
Yeah.
Like that, like in the farms I hunt, like that's my realm.
Absolutely.
So like, I want to try and start going after mature deer, because like last year and the years prior, like I shot a 2.5-year-old.
Yeah.
Like I told myself after putting my hands on him, that'll be the last 2.5-year-old I ever shoot.
Yeah.
I'm done with that era of just shooting deer. Like I want to shoot a mature deer now. So, but like now I want to focus on like the videography side. Like I'm starting to transition more into that. I want to start filming. I want to film like my dad and my brother.
Yeah.
Like I want to do the whole thing.
Okay.
Like start to finish, film everything like you're supposed to, like you see for YouTube. Like that's what I want to do now.
Yeah.
But also when I took him to the processor, we were driving by this field, and my oldest daughter name's Dottie.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, look, Dottie, there's a little buck chasing some does out there in the field. She said, maybe we can go back there and I can shoot him. And I was like, okay. I was like, would you want to shoot a deer next year? And she said, yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, instantly, I don't care if I shoot another deer.
Yeah.
Like that is my main goal.
Okay.
Is to get her. I've got a crossbow. I've got the whole setup. That is my goal for next year, is to, if she's ready and if she wants to put in the time, is to get her a deer.
Yeah.
So that is like I would say like my next 2 years worth of goals.
Yeah.
Is to do more videography and try and get her on a deer if she's ready. This year I kind of hinted around at it. She wasn't ready.
Yeah.
And I wasn't going to push that either.
Dude. I'd love that response, because like there's gonna be some guys out there that be like, oh yeah, I want to go get another big one. I want to go get, like, yes, you would love to shoot another mature deer.
Oh,
You
yeah.
would love, like,
I want to shoot a 185
yeah,
now.
185. You want
Yeah.
1 inch better every year.
Yeah.
That's the goal. But like the best part is like, you filming is cool. Like, there's a lot of people that film their hunts, but I think the best part of it is that you want to help your daughter get it. You want to see your daughter
Oh, yeah.
get a deer. Like, I would be the same way with my daughter. It'd be like I would drop everything. And now, don't get me wrong, I love venison, so I'd probably want to at least shoot something, because like,
Oh yeah, oh yeah. There's only certain times of the year that she's actually gonna hunt. So yeah, you got yeah.
But like, that's that's best response that I think I've heard in 168, 169 episodes now, of like, that's what I want. It's like to see my daughter get some deer now. Like, you kind of hit your, like, you don't want to, it's almost like the, it's going to sound bad. Might sound bad to you, but like when you peak in high school,
Oh, yeah, I was like that. Peaked in high school. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
But like,
Yeah.
But now you can have a new peak because you can have her. Like, she can be next. Like, she can get the next double D.
Yeah.
She can get the next double drop
exactly.
time buck. Like, how cool would that be to get, because he has offspring running around. He does.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
If she gets one that's on the same property, looks like him, like, that'd be cool, man. Like, that'd be like,
And the landowner, like, so I take her, now that she's older, I take her a lot. Go put corn out, go check trail cameras, and she's met the landowner, and he loves her.
yeah.
So even if I lost permission,
Yeah.
she's still hunting there.
Yeah,
You know
exactly.
what I mean? Like, she's still, no doubt about it, he would let her hunt there. So, but like, another thing, like, this year I filmed my dad. My dad came up for that rutcation.
Yep.
And I filmed him shoot a really good Ohio deer.
Yeah.
Nice 10-pointer. And I was jacked.
Yeah.
Like, I just, like, I don't like, I'm one of those people, like, I don't care if you shot a 4-pointer, if you shot a spike, if you shot a button buck, like, I want to see it.
Yeah.
I just want to see people shoot deer.
Yep.
Like, if you shot a 184 7/8, great. I want to see it.
Yeah.
But I also want to see that button buck you shot opening day.
Yep.
Like, and to see my dad, because we've been filming together for years, and it just never worked.
Yeah.
Until this year, I filmed him 3 camera angles over the shoulder, shoot a good Ohio buck at 10 yards. And I not like lost it, like crying, but like I went ballistic.
Yeah.
In the tree stand. I was so super excited, and just just the way it worked out. And like I said, I mean, it was 3 camera angles over the shoulder, right there on a farm that I had just gotten him permission on. He didn't get to go to Wyoming. It's like same thing, like that whole culmination of everything that happened this year.
Yeah.
Like, I felt like I shot him again. Like,
yeah.
Like, it was so cool to, I don't want to say I put my dad on a deer, but like to do that, like and have that experience with him, like that was like next to like the same high as shooting him this year.
Yeah.
And maybe just a touch. It may dial down just a touch.
Yeah,
but,
just a touch. Yeah.
But like I was on that same wavelength. Like I was that, like, same thing. Like, that was cool, was to see him shoot a deer and all that. So that's another thing.
Heck yeah, man! It was awesome. This is just a cool story of Double D and everything else leading up to it and after the fact. I've kept you here now for, hold on, how long? I don't even know. My clock doesn't even say how long it's been on. I think it's 10:23. We started at 8:30, around 8:30, so close to 2 hours. But it's been awesome talking. And like, where can people go? Do you have? Are you going to put these films out? Like, where are you
Yes.
going to be putting them out at? All that kind of stuff.
So right now, I have a whopping 41 followers on YouTube, subscribers.
Yeah.
Um, but it'll be Lone Bow Hunter Chronicles on YouTube.
Okay.
I'm kind of waiting until the end of the season because I still got some doe tags to fill. Like,
Yep.
I don't want to feel pressure to put the video out yet.
Yes.
And there's still a lot of stuff I have to record and interview stuff because I mean, not all the hunt is filmed. Like,
yes. Yeah.
there's a lot of choppy parts that I need to fill in.
Yeah.
But yes, eventually they will be on YouTube.
Okay.
Right now, my YouTube channel is Lone Bow Hunter Chronicles. Same with like my Instagram handle. I think it's lone_bowhunter_chronicles.
Mm-hmm.
Same with TikTok. Yeah, I'm on TikTok too, but that's basically the best ways to find me and my content.
Cool, man. Yeah, it was. I'm looking forward to watching the whole footage when you come out with it.
Oh yeah.
It's awesome because I think we started talking before the season, and then you sent me a few buck. You didn't send me this guy because I think you were trying to hide him from me, but it's okay. I understand.
Maybe
I'll have to go through the pictures.
Yeah, I'll have to go back through them too.
But man, it's been awesome talking to you. What would be your biggest advice to listeners?
Try something new. It might get you a buck of a lifetime.
Yeah.
Try something new. Get mobile. Get the one thing that really this year was like I was getting stale of hunting over corn piles.
Yeah.
Try something new. Get out of your element. Get uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Because you never know what that's going to lead to.
I think there's a saying: be comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Yes.
I forget who says it, but someone
100%.
someone important says that, and it's been said right here as well.
Yeah. Full quoted if not.
Yeah. Man, thank you for coming on the podcast. Really appreciate it. It was a great conversation. Can't wait to do it again.
Anytime, buddy. Anytime.
Oh, yeah.